Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's product training module. We're going to discuss trade planning and monitoring using BOHSEM or BOH Simplified Equity Monitor. One of the first things that I wanted to discuss before I go into the actual template is our multi-factor approach to analyzing potential trades. We study price, we study volume, we study volatility. This is the only way uh, I think people should trade individual stocks on a regular basis. If in the past you're more used to looking at price alone, studying price structure, analyzing history, analyzing, doing technicals on charts, I think you should start moving away from that. And even if before you were looking at price and volume, I don't think a lot of people analyze volume the way we do analyze volume at BOH. And then finally, once you've mastered analyzing price and volume together, I'd like you slowly to incorporate volatility because volatility is our main measure of risk, which is what most people take for granted when they're either planning for trades or managing their existing positions. So medyo ganun yung yung dynamics na tinitingnan natin whenever we consider any type of trade. Study price, try to verify using volume, and then assess volatility and think of volatility in terms of risk and how we are managing position relative to the kind of risk that's happening on the positions that we're holding. Now, one of the things that I found extremely difficult when I was first starting was the tools that I had were pretty limited. I was only looking at price charts and analyzing price and volume relationship visually. That's a bit tough. And you can't process that amount of information just doing it visually or looking at price charts. And if you would notice, a lot of people who do technical analysis, when they analyze volume, they just try to approximate whether volume is rising or declining. You'd start to see them scribble uptrends or downtrends on the volume bars, and to remind them that volume is increasing or verifying an uptrend, or volume is declining and partially warning that an uptrend is not being confirmed by higher volume. So that's tough, and that's one of the reasons why I felt it was very important that people get into doing trade analysis in a different manner. And that's what brought me to develop a template, a companion template that would help me analyze these two factors. And then eventually, when I realized that I needed to factor in volatility as well, then I put together this trade planning and monitoring tool that we currently have and use. So what is BOHSEM? Simply put, BOHSEM is an Excel-based tool that helps you analyze price, volume, and volatility of any stock in just seconds. The template helps you in exploring potential outcomes on price that may arise from different combination of volume and flows. BOSEM is the ideal trade planning and monitoring companion that help make trading decisions faster. So if you look at your new BOSEM template, it's version 4 already. What you will see is we've incorporated multi-duration returns. We've incorporated uh, price buzzes, volume buzzes, and then of course we also have flows here. So here you can pull up any stock using this cell and pull up any statistics on price, volume, and volatility. You can compare volume against relevant benchmarks, and then you will always know what foreigners are doing. So that to me is what BOSM really is. That's what it helps us do. Now, so what are the benefits? The benefits are it summarizes price, volume, and volatility in one spreadsheet. No need to look at several things over on a price chart. Kasi makikita mo na kagad sa dashboard mo kung ano yung nangyayari sa price, volume, and volatility metrics natin. Second, it helps identify inflection points in detail. Gone are the days that we simply rely on looking at specific candlestick bars to help us identify inflection points. Kasi pag nagkakaroon ka ng reversals, naghahanap ka ng hammer. And sometimes, nagkakaroon ng reversal kahit na walang hammer. So, it becomes tricky analyzing price action in such a linear way. In through BOHSEM, what we're trying to do is we want to analyze when momentum is turning, what volume is doing relative to price action, and where support and resistance levels are, just by looking at one single template. Third, it helps identify the activity of foreign portfolio flows. Kasi pag tinitingnan mo ang foreign portfolio flows, you don't look at flows on a daily basis and trying to guess what that really means. Kailangan tinitingnan mo yung statistics na relevant to flows. Tinitingnan mo yung average volume flows. At tinitingnan mo yung moving sum flows. Kasi doon mo makita yung inflection point. Kasi pwedeng nagbebenta pa rin sila. But when you look at rolling moving average flows, nag-taper off na pala yung selling nila. So yung mga ganong klaseng nuances, you can only identify by looking at average statistics and moving sum statistics. Now graphically, we also try to capture demand-supply balances and imbalances through the add-on that we recently released. And then finally, like I mentioned earlier, we try to identify volatility risks through the use of our hedge ratio. And we feel that it's a faster way to identify rising or receding risk in any trade that we'd like to enter. So those are the things that we stand to benefit when we use BOHSEM. So what's new on BOHSEM? Well, we recently released yung add-in nga natin where we added momentum tracker and volume distribution charts. Now, the momentum tracker is simply a time series scatter plot that compares momentum over short and long-term time horizon. Now, visually, this helps us track periods of consolidation and breakouts in a very different way. Kasi sanay tayo tinitingnan lang consolidation and breakouts just looking at price, when in fact you can actually look at consolidation and breakouts in terms of yung momentum na niya. Diretso na tayo. Kasi yun naman talaga yung interesado tayo when we're looking at any kind of thing. Interesado tayo if the stock that we're holding is breaking out and we'd like to analyze breakouts in terms of momentum na. Measure na natin. Diretso na natin yung analysis natin ng breakouts or ng trends through momentum. And then finally, yung volume distribution. Now, this is a graphical display of supply and demand balances and imbalances. And I'll be discussing these terms in the next couple of slides. So, what does it look like? Right now, yung BOHSEM add-in natin looks like this. So, on the left panel, you have your momentum tracker. So, if you're familiar with our scatter plot, multi-duration return scatter plot, where we compare different stocks against each other over 2 time horizons or 2 period returns and try to assess if period returns are leading, weakening, lagging, or improving. In this scatter plot, we're measuring the time series evolution of momentum. So this is again a different way of analyzing price trends or consolidation or breakouts. Kasi mas nakikita natin kung ano ba yung nangyayari sa kanya over 2 distinct time horizons. On the right panel, we produced 2 volume distribution. Yung volume distribution kasi tinitingnan natin how volume was distributed over a set of prices over the past 13 days and over the past 34 days. So, ganun natin tinitingnan yon. And we try to analyze where current prices stand over the relevant volume distribution over the past 13 days and 34 days. Again, I'll be discussing the terms in a bit. Also, dito sa add-in na to, you can specify yung tracker settings for momentum. You can compare 2 days versus 5 days. 5 days over against 1 month, 1 month against 3 months, and 3 months against year to date. You just need to tweak or change the default combo using the different combinations dito sa ano. Again, nagmamatter yon pag nag-analyze kayo ng momentum dun sa stock na tinitingnan nyo. So, ito yung some of the changes that we introduced by putting in an ad in. I think dito sa dalawang ano na to, modifications na to, I think the more relevant modification here would be volume distribution, and I'll be discussing this in a bit. So momentum tracker, you're all familiar with leading, weakening, lagging, and improving na terminologies natin. So if it's leading, it just means that both short and long-term return duration are positive. If it's weakening, it tells you that although long-term return duration is positive, short-term duration is now negative. So nag-weaken yung momentum niya over the short term. If it's lagging, then both short and long-term return are negative. If it's improving, it means that short-term return duration is turning positive, but longer-term duration is still negative. And these are very important distinctions that you need to make when analyzing momentum, because it will help define what kind of strategy you're supposed to be doing for the different stocks that you're holding. Like for instance, if a stock has short-term return duration that's positive, meaning it's improving, but if it's still long-term, its long-term duration is still negative, then the typical strategy there would be you just sell at resistance, sell strength ka lang when it comes to those types of plays. On the other hand, if you're trying to buy dips, then you would normally like your stock to have positive long-term duration, long-term return duration, but its short-term return duration is negative. Kasi gusto mo nagbabuy ka ng dips, buying red on a strong momentum name. So may mga ganong klaseng dynamics na pumapasok. So you need to find out where momentum resides within the scatter plot and try to figure out what best strategy that you na ideal for you. Ganun din when you're trying to bottom pick on names. What you would like is nag-extend yung scatter plot na pa-negative at nag-extend more negative siya at nagiging lagging siya, and you're trying to bottom pick on that particular name dahil doon sa pagiging extended nung downtrend niya. On the other hand, if you're the type na hindi ka na nag-aantay ng dips and you're just buying into momentum and strength and trying to follow the trend, then what you would like is for the name that you're looking at to maintain both positive momentum on short and long term duration. So those are some of the dynamics that you would often see when you're studying your scatter plot. On the other hand, when you're looking yung sa volume distribution naman, very distinct din kasi yung language at saka yung pag-analyze ng volume distribution. Balanced market, kasi kanina mapapansin nyo, since matagal nyo na rin naman nagamit yung volume distribution na add-in natin, makikita nyo when prices are consolidating in a range, often what you would see are volume distribution that is balanced, meaning bell-shaped siya, pagka normally distributed yung volume distribution. Balanced market yon, range bound lang usually yung ganung klaseng stock or market. On the other hand, makakita ka rin kasi ng mga instances na unbalanced yung stock or yung market, kung saan medyo sabog kung saan mo makikita yung mga volume distribution, yung mga volume bars mo within the volume distribution chart. Those are unbalanced market. But what you would like to see when you're looking at yung mga volume distribution na to are unbalanced market that are confirming an uptrend, meaning yung large volume bars are located at the top end of the volume distribution chart. Kasi it's confirming na umaakit yung price, volume is getting larger at the top end of the volume distribution range. So, ganun. Or kung pababa naman, makikita mo, nag-increase dapat yung volume distribution and slanted siya naman pababa. So, unbalanced market. Now, there are a lot of instances din na may makikita ka na yung market or yung stock, yung volume distribution niya, may pagkabungi-bungi. So, yung mga ganong instances din, well-defined kung saan yung potential resistance levels tsaka kung saan yung potential support levels just by looking at where the distribution of yung volume. Now, there's this concept here that I really like, itong longest line concept. Now, this is simply the price level at which the market perceives value. And it is the price level where the largest amount of trading was facilitated. So, yun yung concept ng longest line. And later, I'll point out where on the add-on you will see the longest line statistics. Basically, what it just tells you that if you're looking at the 34-day volume distribution, the longest line will be the price level at which the largest amount of trading happened over the past 34 days. So, doon yun mo makita yung longest line. And all you need to do, if you're evaluating that stock for a potential trade, is look at where current prices are, or where the current price of the stock is, and compare that against the price at which the longest line occurred. The farther yung longest line, the farther the current price is compared to the longest line, pagka malayo siya at nasa ibaba siya, nasa ilalim, then you automatically know that maraming mga naipit dun sa stock at higher level. And if you're trying to buy the name, then you are better off buying it as far away from that longest line level. On the other hand, pagka nasa taas naman ikaw, nasa taas yung current price, then you know that that longest line level or price level is where support should be. At hindi dapat basta-bastang mabutas yung level na yon. And then finally, yung isa pa sa magandang concept dito sa volume distribution na analysis na to is yung mid-range. It's just the mathematical mean of a given price distribution. So if you're looking at 34 days, it's just the minimum price and maximum price of that 34-day range divided by 2 para makuha mo na yung mid-range. And that's technically the mathematical fair value. So whenever you read me, see me say or mention the mathematical fair value, it just means that I'm talking about the mid-range or yung gitna ng range na nung 34 or 13-day distribution na tinitingnan ko. Usually kasi kino-compare mo rin na pag ang mid-range mo or kino-compare mo kung nasaan yung longest line mo relative to the mid-range. Pag ang longest line mo above the mid-range, ang ibig sabihin nun, buyers are willing to buy at a premium relative to the mathematical fair value. Pag nasa ilalim naman yung longest line mo relative to the mid-range, then it means that sellers are willing to sell at a discount relative to the fair value of the range. So may mga ganong dynamics na pumapasok when it comes to volume analysis. So those are the key terms when it comes to volume distribution. But basically, when you're trying to put things together, when you're using yung BOHSEM nga, may trade planning process flow tayo. So we first start off with yung daily screeners natin na using yung outlier models natin. Ang outlier models natin, yung scatter plot at yung black box. Once you've narrowed down the names that you would like to consider for your trades, then you move on now to the second portion, which is verification. I-plot mo na kung ano yung support and resistance levels, or if not, tingnan mo na kung yung price structure ay tipo ng stock na naiintindihan mo yung galaw. So verify mo na. Kasi meron ka ng na shortlist mo na eh. Meron ka ng listahan ng mga stocks na gusto mong tingnan eh. Ngayon tingnan mo na as a second filter mo kung alin ba yung mga stocks na naiintindihan mo. Magagawa mo yun through technical analysis. Kasi doon mo makita kung type mo yung ganong klaseng structure. Once na nasala mo pa yung listahan mo dun sa mga sinasabi mong naiintindihan ko to yung ganitong klaseng potential trade, then you move on now to trade planning and monitoring. Yung trade planning monitoring, dito na papasok yung pag-identify mo kung nasaan ba talaga yung ideal levels for you to get into that trade. Because we already know that you can do technical analysis, that you already know how to define support and resistance levels. But you need to see as well where supply and demand dynamics come in through your MVWAP statistics, through your volume analysis, kung ano ba yung nagiging trend sa volume, ano ba yung ginagawa ng foreigners, ano ba yung state ng volatility relative to a particular stock. So ganito yung trade process, yung process flow when putting together a trade. So let's now get into kung paano ba talaga siya ginagamit. So let's assume you already know a stock and you're trying to analyze what it's doing, and nagawa mo na rin yung again yung pag-filter mo nga doon sa mga pangalan na gusto mong tingnan. So usually the first thing that I consider when looking at the name is yung mga MVWAP levels niya. So that's the first thing that I get into. Is the nasan ba yung current price relative to its MVWAP statistics. And the way I go about it is hindi ko kailangan tingnan lahat. Ang kailangan ko lang tingnan is nasaan ba yung highest level na MVWAP at saka nasaan ba yung lowest level na MVWAP. That's how I do it. Kasi hindi mo naman kailangan itong lahat ng levels na to eh. Pero ang kailangan mo, nasan yung max at nasan yung min dito sa MVWAP, dito sa 5 MVWAPs na to. And from there, you can use that as a take-off point. So, usually, isang paraan ng paggamit ko nito is, okay, nakita ko na, sabi dito, 583 ang 5-day MVWAP, tapos 255 yung 252-day na MVWAP. Again, tinitingnan ko lang yung max and min. Hindi sa akin na importante kung nasa 10-day, nasa 20-day, nasa 65 days, or nasa 250 days ba yung max or min. Hindi ganon. Nasaan yun lang yung max and min. Yun lang yung importante. So, 583 and 255. So, let's assume that gusto mong start off point, kunyari tamad ka to be particular when drawing support and resistance levels, then you try to plot it out. So, 583 and yung 255 yung lowest na MVWAP level mo. So, yan yung 255. So, that's effectively your trading range already for the name. But obviously, since a name like Davin, malaki na yung naging run, you need to scale in. So, paano ba tayo mag-scale in? We segment. So, you just get the midpoint of the low and high of the MVWAP levels. So, for 419, yung midpoint nitong range nito. So, 419. And then you try to segment it again until you arrive at yung mga relevant levels na natin. So, right now, ang pinaka-relevant mo, 498. So, paano na ngayon pumapasok yung dito? Yung concept natin na sinisimplify natin yung trade analysis dito. Well, given the existing range na sinasabi natin 583, 255, tas ang immediate trading range mo 498, 583, then the statement becomes anything above 583 is an overshoot and should therefore be sold into, and anything below 498 is a sell since it effectively widens the trading range and can potentially bring the stock all the way back to 419 if 498 breaks. But as long as if the stock can consolidate between 498 and 583, then you know that the trend can potentially continue since very tight naman yung trading range na 498 to 583. Ganun yung initial na na pwede mo maging analysis dun sa trade. Now, the thing that I like about this type of approach, na tamad approach, is dynamic yung MVWAP levels mo. On a daily basis, magbabago yung levels na to. Hindi dramatic yung magiging changes niya, pero magkakaroon ka ng changes. And you can tweak the support and resistance levels based on your MVWAP levels. Now, the nice thing about doing it this way is, alam mong may volume component yung price support and resistance levels mo. Since MVWAP is really moving volume weighted average price. So, yun yung kinaganda ng ganong klaseng approach. So, again, right now, out of the money ang stock kasi it's trading at 571. Pinalitan natin yung labeling natin. OTM is out of the money, meaning below yung current price relative to MVWAP. ITM is in the money. So, it's in the money, meaning may gains pa yung mga taong pumasok over the past 10 days at ang average price nila kunyari 484. So ganun yung yun yung initial style. Now there are a lot of ways. Sige, magpula pa tayo ng ibang example just to show you kung paano nagiging useful yung ganitong klaseng approach. So for example, si Annie naman, si Annie, ang high niya is at 530. Nasa 20-day average yan. 530. Ang lowest level niya is 433. So, again, ang statement mo rito is anything above 530 is an overshoot. Closest known support below 530 is mga 483. Last known support below 483 is at 433. Now, if on the other hand, kayanin na niya na to break above 483, at least meron ka ng segmented range. And you can use that segmented range to project the level out. So, all you need to do is use 433 and 530 to see where it can go to next, or nasan ba yung next known resistance mo. Next known resistance mo is at 649 or 650. But right now, we already know na pag ang approach natin, nagsesegment tayo. Ang segmentation natin dito, nasa 588 yung resistance level mo. So ngayon, meron ka ng wide range na tinitingnan at kinukonsider for the trade. So mas madali, mas nagiging binary yung process natin, mas madali natin na-analyze kung nasan ba yung support resistance levels, at pwede natin i-tweak to on a weekly basis or on a daily basis, depende kung gaano tayo ka-ok about it, just by referencing nasan ba yung MVWAP levels dun sa BOHSEM. And you can't do that just looking at the price chart. So right now, ang statement dito is, if you're a buyer, you would like to buy as far away as possible from 530. Kasi alam mo, malaki yung whipsaw mo pag sa 530 ka bumibili. Or pag below 530 ka bumibili. Kasi next known support mo is at 583 and last known support mo is at 433. If on the other hand, you start seeing it trade firmly between 588 and 533, then you can start buying at 530. Kasi likelihood na baka kayanin na niya to test 650 is becomes higher kasi ganun na yung trading range mo. So ganun yung pinakatamad approach, very lazy way of going about support resistance. Again, just look at the max and min of your MVWAP statistics and all should be well. If on the other hand, gusto mo pa magdagdagan ng mas richer yung information na tinitingnan mo, then you can also add itong information do sa range na define mo just using the MVWAP levels. Mid-range natin, yung mathematical range natin, nasa 502 yung mathematical fair value. So, mathematical fair value, it's at 502. And surprisingly, makikita mo na it's trying to hold the line above 502. That's the 34-day mid-range. Longest volume line natin, 493. Again, over the past 34 days. So, ang statement here is, while you are trying to buy as far away from 530, we know that there should be firm support between 502 and 493. So, kahit na gustuhin man natin bumili dito sa 483, we may want to scale in beginning 502, 493, and 483. Tapos stop below 483 na lang ang magiging pinaka trading plan mo in this regard. Ganun lang kasimple siya. So, ganun ka-powerful yung nandito pa lang tayo. Ito pa lang tinitingnan natin ng mga statistics natin. Wala pa tayong ibang tinitingnan. Basta ang ginawa pa lang natin, tiningnan natin yung max tsaka min ng MVWAP. We then segmented the range. We extended the range kasi medyo makipot yung nakuha nating support and resistance levels using the MVWAP. And from there, nakapag-derive na tayo kung saan potentially dapat tayong mag-pick up ng pangalan. It's fairly straightforward. And I don't think you can do this type of analysis just by looking at a chart or this particular graph. And there are other ways to go about it as well. So, okay, na I've gone through defining support and resistance using MVWAP. What are the other things that we would like to look into whenever we're doing this? Well, firstly, ako, kinoconsider ko lagi ito yung volume buzzes. Kasi yan yung nagsasabi sa atin kung dapat pa tayong nagmamadali. Pwede ba tayong mag-antay lang muna bago tayo pumasok dun sa trade. Kasi mapapansin nyo dito, madali na lang to in hindsight. Nakikita naman natin yung mga inflection points. Yung inflection point dito, nagsimula ulit si Annie gumalaw beginning nung nagkaroon siya ng buzz nitong February 15, February 12 period. Nagkaroon siya ng after medyo tuyo or medyo dry yung volume activity mo prior to February 11, tas nagkaroon ka ng volume buzzes itong 2 araw na to, kahit hindi naging sequential na yan. Pero eventually, it led to having the stock move from 457 and then you get another set of volume buzzes between 477 and 5 pesos. Tapos umakyat na from 5 pesos all the way to 573 or 582 yung naging high niya. Now, ang kinaganda nito is nakikita mo kung nagbabuzz ba or nagko-confirm ba yung volume dun sa price action niya. Because as soon as yung stock started to print less volume or hindi na ganun kalakas yung volume buzzes niya, hindi na naging ganun ka-consistent, tumigil na rin yung pag-akyat niya. Kasi usually what you would like is yung 5-day, 20-day, 50-day volume buzzes mo, nagko-confirm lahat, meaning bright green lahat yung colors nun. And usually, I'm very suspicious pagka yung volume buzzes lang isolated or dun sa tatlong metric natin ng volume buzz na to. And true enough, dito sa particular example na to, makikita mo na kahit na buzzing pa rin yung activity niya or yung volume niya at these levels, 582, the next day, you see prices start to fall already. Kahit na nagbabuzz pa siya, heavy volume pa nga in fact yung nagiging down day niya. And hindi na naman masyado lumayo pa yung stock dun sa levels na yun. Actually, pag tinignan mo rin, kahit si Davin, ang mapapansin mong kwento, ganun din. Ang dito naman yung naging key statistic na tiningnan dito for Davin was yung PP column natin or yung capitulation volume natin. Capitulation wa, we, we, we captured capitulation nung sa 188 level. And from 188, malaki yung naging volume level nun, 23 million shares. Again, capitulation siya. Tapos, after that, tuloy-tuloy na yung naging akyat niya. From 188, karoon siya ng volume bust hanggang 218, 220 level. Tapos, nag-dry up yung volume. Now, the nice thing about yung pag-dry up ng volume na ganito was hindi gumalaw yung presyo. Meaning, nag-consolidate lang siya between 220 and 230 area. And usually, lagi natin sinasabi na concern natin yung pag-dry up ng liquidity pagka yung stock umaakyat. Pero pag ang stock nagko-consolidate lang sideways tapos walang volume, that's actually bullish. Pag nagko-consolidate lang siya within a tight range na walang volume. We actually like that. We also like it when prices are sliding lower on declining volume then. Although of course, we're still mindful of support levels pagka na-break talaga yung level, kahit sabihin mong illiquid, nag-dry up yung volume, kailangan mo pa rin respetuhin yung prices. So, mas ideal talaga na yung volume mo nag-dry up, tapos yung range mo nag-consolidate lang sideways. And in this particular case, ganun yung naging style dito sa trade na to. So, after that, from 530 level, nagkaroon ka na ng volume bust dito sa area na to, 255, tapos tuloy-tuloy na yung naging akyat. Although, mapapansin mo dito, hindi masyadong naging useful yung volume statistics kasi never nag-confirm yung volume statistics between 255 hanggang 290. Nangyari yung ganun kasi range bound yung stock na yun all the way to 290 area. Actually, 254 to 290 area, range bound pa rin siya. So, kahit umaakyat yung stock on less na hindi nagvo-volume bust, kasi nga range bound siya. Nagmatter lang yung volume bust nung na-break na niya yung trading range, which was above 290 area. Again, yung curiosity dito, hindi nagko-confirm across yung volume kahit na elevated yung volume niya at this point. But I think yung pinaka-importante dito, once you notice na nawala na yung pagiging green ng volume bust mo, tumigil na rin yung pag-akyat ng stock talaga. So again, nakakatulong na ni-review yung volume bust activity rather than looking at what's happening dun sa actual volume number. So kahit na kasi nami-meet mo yung volume levels, may volume ka na umaakyat, kung hindi naman buzzing na yung volume, then that puts the trend at risk. Mas madali siyang i-analyze pagka nakita mo na ng maraming beses na ganito yung nagiging tendency, lalo na namang stocks na vertical yung paakyat. Mas madali, mas magiging comfortable kayo sa paggamit lang or sa pagtingin lang ng volume buses sa pag-analyze ng strength ng trend, as opposed to trying to keep track talaga kung ano ba yung exact na very specific na volume requirement. Although knowing yung volume requirements, nakakatulong din talaga yan. Pero kung ayaw mo nang to bother with the details, kung ano ba yung volume requirement, then just look at itong statistics natin, yung volume buses, to see whether yung uptrend is still being confirmed, kung nagkakaroon pa rin ba ng habulan. Kasi habulan naman usually yung naka-capture ng volume buses mo. At yung habulan na sinasabi natin, not just in terms of price, habulan in terms of yung volume din talaga. So, ganun natin tinitingnan yan. Now, usually, the way I go about this is, ang pinaka-metric ko outside volume buses is volatility. Usually, yun yung pinaka-metric ko. Ang volatility statistics na tinitingnan natin is yung hedge ratio. And hedge ratio is simply the quotient or the quotient between the average historical volatility and current volatility. Ang sinasabi natin, once yung hedge ratio mo falls below 1, if you have the position, if you're long on the position, then the risk is rising on that position already. And you should consider taking profits on the name. Or at the very least, manage the position already since volatility is rising already. And normally, what I would do is I would compare what's happening sa volatility and compare that against volume. So yung dalawa yung tinitingnan ko lagi sa mga gantong klaseng trades. Usually, ang makita ko dito, magkakaroon ka ng hedge ratio na biglang magdo-drop below 1, tapos yun yung pinaka-early signal ko that risk is rising already since volatility is getting elevated. Now, it doesn't mean na pag nakita mo mag-drop below 1 yung hedge ratio mo, hindi ibig sabihin magbenta ka na. Kailangan tingnan mo pa rin yung nangyayari sa volume. Lalo na, again, dun sa mga stocks na nagva-vertical, yung mga katulad, nagpaparabolic na katulad ng ni Davin. So dito, mapapansin nyo, itong si hedge ratio went below 1 when price hit 347. That's the early warning that you need to consider. Kasi if you're just rules based, then you would have sold half of your position since the ratio fell from 0.99 to 63 or so ang hawak mo na lang ngayon dito mga 60% na lang ng position mo. So usually ang pinaka-style dito, ako tinitingnan ko kung ano nangyayari sa volume. So antayin ko mag-dry up yung volume kasi alam ko elevated na yung volatility. And in this particular example, again, volume dropped markedly nung March 7 at 633. It's still high, volume still high on a nominal basis, but in terms of volume basis, wala nang habulan na nangyayari. Tapos alam kong volatility is elevated, then the risk for me is rising at that point. So, pwede na ako mag-unwind since dalawa na yung nagko-confirm. Volume and volatility na yung nagko-confirm about said risks. Now, so ganun yung dynamics between volatility and risk. But syempre tayo, ang importante naman talaga sa atin is momentum. Meron pa bang momentum yung stock? And normally, kung momentum lang naman talaga yung gusto nyo tinitingnan, ayaw nyo nang pinoproblema pa yung ibang mga factors na importante for the trade, then all you need to look at is itong multi-duration return natin. Dito pa lang makikita mo naman yung inflection points eh. So, ayaw mo tingnan yung volume, tingnan mo na lang kung kailan nag-green yung mga indicators natin. Again, makikita mo naman dito yung inflection point. Kasi yun naman importante na kahit hindi ka tumitingin sa price chart, dapat nakikita mo yung inflection point dun sa price action ng stock. Kasi dito, makikita mo, after mag-rally yung Davin from 153, biglang nag-weekend siya around 250, 265, tapos nag-lag na siya hanggang nagkaroon ka ng capitulation volume. So, nagkaroon ka ng drop kay Davin from 240 at 298 level, nalaglag siya hanggang 188. So, ngayon, tinitingnan mo pa rin, nasaan ba yung inflection point mo? Makikita mo yun kagad. Kasi nakikita mo na maintain naman niya yung long-term momentum niya. Pero, yung short-term momentum, negative momentum niya, nag-turn na, nag-improve na yung short-term momentum niya. Hanggang makita mo na nag-green na yung yung apat na set ng multi-duration return natin. So, ganun ka simple. Hindi mo na kailangan tingnan yung price chart kung tamad ka to go back and forth trying to analyze what's happening sa price action. Tinitingnan mo lang multi-duration return mo. And makakapag-decide ka na kagad from dun sa set of information na meron ka kung anong dapat mong ginagawa sa levels na yun. So again, walang straightforward rule on how to go about it. I'm just giving you broad strokes on how you should be thinking about things and how yung dynamics between volatility, volume, and momentum kicks in. Kasi makikita mo naman yung interplay between volume and volatility. Like in this particular case, when Davin was consolidating, again, kasi Davin yung pinakamaganda example in this at this point, makita mo during this period na nagko-consolidate yung volume mo, meaning nagda-dry up yung volume mo, makikita mo yung momentum, patay talaga. Sideways lang siya. Yan yung nangyari during the period na nagko-consolidate lang si Davin. And then again, nag-pick up siya, 255. And the rest is history. From 255 all the way to 633. And now it's trading at 577. So there are a lot of ways to go about it. Pero the important thing is, alam mo kagad kung ano yung titingnan mo. And in this particular example, ang naging relevant na metrics mo, capitulation, volume buzzes, drying up of volume, momentum, and of course yung volatility component. Even here, when prices were sliding, mapapansin mo, yung hedge ratio mo was actually rising, which is a good sign. You cannot use the hedge ratio as a standalone indicator, pero magagamit mo siya to assess what you should be doing dun sa stock. Kasi usually, ang rule natin, if the hedge ratio is above 1, then it's ideal for accumulation. But you can't use that as your final metric. But it's a good sign na volatility, from a volatility rule perspective, this is a period where you can actually be accumulating already. Pero ang mapapansin mo dito, yung accumulation mo was from 261 to 190 level. Na volatility was actually declining even though prices was sliding. So may mga ganong klaseng dynamics. Marami pang example kung saan yung capitulation volume actually triggered kung kailan dapat ka nagpay at na tumingin ulit dun sa stock na yun. Isa dun sa mga magandang example last year was si Ion. Si Ion printed capitulation volume at 2 pesos nung nagko-consolidate na siya at highs, kasi matatandaan nyo, umakyat na siya sa 3 pesos, tapos nag-dry up yung liquidity niya, nag-dry up yung price action kay Ion, and then we get this capitulation volume when it fell from 273 all the way to 2 pesos, tapos nag-carve na siya ng bottom niya. Never na bumalik below 2 pesos itong si Ion at during this period. So again, capitulation volume marked the low of that price action, and then it never tested 2 pesos again. Nag-consolidate siya between 2.10 and 2 pesos, but it never broke below 2 pesos anymore. So kahit na hindi siya umakyat back to 3 pesos, at the very least you were able to buy between 2 pesos and 2.06 if you were paying attention to what was happening to the volume levels at that point. Because admittedly, if you just look at the price chart of Ion during this period, mahirap talagang makita kung nasaan ba yung tradable areas niya. Kasi it just went straight up. Tas bigla nag-slide na lang pababa. And the only way you could mark a bottom on that stock was through volume, not through price. Now, siguro pinaka-caveat na lang when you're looking at capitulation volume, kailangan tingnan nyo pa rin yung context niya. Capitulation volume is the largest 10-day volume on a down day, and normally this information is very useful when the stock is trending down. But if a stock is trading within a range and the range has been extended over several periods already or several weeks already, the capitulation information becomes less relevant. You should look at the stock, pero hindi na siya kasing potent as compared to a stock that's actually sliding. Mas maganda pa nga na umakyat yung stock, tapos nagko-consolidate siya sideways, magkaroon ka ng down day, tapos mag-print ng capitulation volume. Kasi doon sa mga instances na yon, nagkaroon ka ng pasahan ng kamay at the highs, and that could potentially mean na nagsiset up siya na umakyat pa ulit. Nakita ko yan sa recently nakita ko yung ganong klaseng instance sa SMC. SMC, alam natin, price-wise, resistance was at 73. Nangyari yung capitulation volume at 73. And from 73, it briefly dipped to 70 pesos all the way to 69. But on thinner volume. Kasi makita mo, dry volume naman yung naging decline to 69. And then from 69, it rallied from 69 all the way to 78. But again, makapansin mo, volume, not confirming yung uptrend. So, hindi ganun ka-robust yung naging uptrend ni SMC from 73. So, sa akin, okay lang na naiwan na after makabili or makabenta sa 73 area. Kasi, again, volume wasn't confirming this up move. And true enough, after hitting 78, 60, 78 levels, biglang bang 75, 60 ka ulit for no reason except that every other stock in the market was going up. So nagkomontra na naman ng galaw tong si SMC. So it really pays to look at itong PP column na to. Very powerful stuff, especially if the market is falling. Ito yung pinaka-favorite na na tinitingnan ko. MCP recently printed capitulation volume around 194. Never broke below 194 anymore. From 194 to 280. Again, the low was printed at 194. So very subtle yung yung mga metrics na ginagamit natin, pero if you look at it, pagka nagamay mo na laging tinitingnan lang yung mga statistics na to, mas magiging confident ka na sa pag-execute. Hindi stylized yung mga examples kasi kahit tumingin ka ng iba pang mga stocks at saka iba pang mga examples, makikita mo na yung low would be carved out near dun sa kung kailan nagkaroon ng capitulation day. Usually, ang kinaganda kasi nito, pag nagkaroon ka ng capitulation day, the next day should be, kahit na mag-slide lower siya, volume should be thinner on the next day. Pagka nakita mo consecutive na capitulation days, then pwede pa siyang bumaba kasi marami pa talaga nagbebenta. Pero pag pansin mo si TEL, same thing. Recently, it printed capitulation volume at 1830. It slid to 1755 the next day. But from there, it was able to go back up to 1835. Other times, pagka strong yung uptrend niya previously, makakapag-print ka rin ng capitulation volume pero hindi siya makapag-reverse na after printing that capitulation volume. So all you need to know at this point is 2278, the farther away you get away, prices move away from 2278, mas lumalaki yung tendency na stiff resistance na si 2278. So in this particular case, 2278, prices went down to 220, to 220, and then it tried to rally to 228, and then tas breakdown na lang siya ulit. Kasi normally, ang gusto mo, magkaroon ka ng capitulation day, thin volume the next day, tapos dapat third day nagkakaroon ka na ng reversal. Usually ganun yung yung hinahanap kong pattern for these types of things. Otherwise, pwedeng umatras pa rin talaga yung presyo. So you need to pay attention dun sa mga ganung klaseng details. So what are the other things that you need to consider? Of course, yung volume, yung flows when you're looking at yung mga index names mo. Ang pinakamagandang tinitingnan dito again is yung averages. Hindi ka masyado dapat tumitingin doon sa daily flows. Anong ginagawa at the margin ng mga foreigners? Nagbebenta ba sila? Bumibili ba sila? Bumibili sila over the past 20 days, pero anong ginawa nila over the past 65 days? Kino-cover ba nila yung shorts? dito mo makikita yun sa pagtingin mo sa average volume at saka sa sum volume flows mo. Usually, ang kinaganda pa nito dun sa template natin, nakikita natin on a year-to-date basis, gaano karami na ba yung na-accumulate nila. In the case of X, year-to-date, nakapag-accumulate sila ng 380 million worth. But before that, ano ba, before yung run nilang to, nasan yung naging accumulation? Gaano karami na ba nila nabili nung nahulog to 288, 1288 yung stock? They were long 103 million already. Pero ang kinaganda nito, not only are you looking at year-to-date inflow dun sa name na yon, nakikita nyo rin kung over the past 65 days, gaano kalaki na ba yung na-accumulate nila. Mas malaki. Parang over the past 65 days, it's telling you 444 million shares na yung nabili nila over the past 65 days pala. I mean, hindi lang sa index stocks kasi importante yung yung flows, pero kadalasan when you're analyzing when you're analyzing index names, it's always best to look at volume flows. Pero merong mga instances, lalo na pagka mga MSCI candidates, tingnan mo kung anong ginagawa ng mga foreigners dun sa pangalan na yun. Lalo na kung nabalitaan nyo, it's a potential addition, candidate siya, whether it's for the small cap addition or large or sa main index ng MSCI Philippines. Si DD, ano ba yung nangyari from a flows perspective? Kasi nakita naman na natin kung ano nangyari din sa sa price action niya over the past year. Over the past 65 days, foreigners have accumulated 280 million. Over year to date, they've bought around 168 million. So, and not once na yung average flow statistics mo turned negative, or kahit yung some flow statistics mo, hindi siya nag-negative. So, they're still there. They're buying. Pero mapapansin mo dito, ang importante statistics dito, if you're going to assume that the reason why the bulk of yung price increase ni DD was driven by foreign inflow, the next thing that you would like to ask yourself is, are they still buying aggressively at the margin? Over the past 20 days, ano ba yung naging trend dun sa statistics mo? So usually yung ginagawa ko, tinitingnan ko over the past 13 days Ito yung pinaka-marker ko for 10 days. So, dito yung marker ko for 13 days. Tinitingnan ko kung ano yung ginagawa nila over the past 13 days. Kung nakita ko nag-increase pa rin yung average flow statistic, then it's okay. But if you start seeing it slide, then baka nawawalan ka na ng marginal buyer for such a trade. EMP, balitaan natin, CME candidate for addition recently. So tingnan natin, nagkakaroon ba ng front running sa mga funds, or are they waiting for the actual inclusion? Mapapansin mo, kahit na nagkaroon ng balita na candidate for inclusion sila, they're still net sellers. So potentially, baka during the tawag dito, dun sa actual date ng adjustment ng MSCI components, dun pa lang magkakaroon ng foreign inflow. So until then, meron ka pa rin natural sellers ng EMP inventories nila. Kasi hindi naman porket for inclusion siya, ibig sabihin binibili na nila. Pwede kasi binibenta pa rin nila yung existing inventory nila, tas come inclusion or addition na dun sa index na relevant index, dun pa lang sila mamimili ulit. So, paminsan may disjoint Paminsan, mapapansin mo, fino-front run ng locals, thinking na foreigners are buying already on the announcement that will be included, when in fact, hindi naman pala. So, may mga ganong klaseng instances. So, very useful yung ganitong pag-analyze ng flows natin. Well, I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover tonight. If you guys have any questions, lalo na kung interested kayo dun sa well, I think yung pinaka-difficulty was yung last time na ang natanong sa akin was yung volume requirement. And let me just go over yung volume requirement very briefly. Here's the way I think about volume statistics. Kasi basta lagi ang ginagawa natin, we're comparing current volume against benchmark statistics on volume. Ang pinaka rule of thumb ko here is, if you're analyzing a breakout, then the volume requirement or the relevant benchmark statistic that you should be looking at are yung standard deviation statistics na meron tayo pagka breakout yung tinitingnan natin. And by breakout, I mean stocks that are gaining more than 4% on a daily basis. Now, for a stock to maintain gains more than 4% on a daily basis, they need to print more than one standard deviation to continue on with that base. On the other hand, if you're just looking at the stock trending, meaning smooth trend niya, 2-3% daily, then ang minimum requirement ko for such a trend to persist would be whichever is larger between the 20-day average volume and the 50-day average volume. So ganun yung dynamics ko. Pagka trend, then you need to look at average volume. Kung ano man yung mas malaki between 20-day and 50-day. If it's breaking out, then you need to consider yung standard deviation statistics natin as your benchmark. Again, if you guys have questions, pa-post na lang dun sa box natin. If there are none, I'm actually done for the session. Thank you very much for attending. Okay, there's one question here. CCI. Well, CCI was added there as a momentum metric. As a traditional momentum metric. So, it's just itong momentum metric na to, it oscillates around 0. And you can follow a simple rule here na buy above 0, sell if below 0. Pero traditional momentum metric siya. I don't really use it. It was just requested when I was first putting together the BOHSEM na magkaroon ng traditional momentum indicator. But as it is, I think robust enough na yung momentum indicators natin dito. Yung sa ano naman, okay. So there's a question here. What do you do when stock starts printing 2SD and 3SD? Well, it becomes context dependent. Usually, ang tendency ko, lalo na if a stock is trending or breaking out and it starts printing 2 standard deviation, 3 standard deviation volume, and malaki na yung gains over a particular run, tapos nagkakaroon ka na ng ganong klaseng iisipin mo confirmation ng uptrend niya. Ang pinaka rule ko is to start selling dun sa mga ganong klaseng araw, because the stock, even if it continues to go up, is becoming overbought from a volume statistics perspective. Nagiging overbought siya, lalo na kung sa taas nangyayari yung ganitong klaseng statistics mo. And again, yung rule ko is effort and result. Pagka nagkakaroon ka ng 3 standard deviation event and volume is and result is no longer confirming yung ganung klaseng 3 standard deviation na volume event, then I'd probably be a seller of that already. If a stock is just printing 4% on a 3 standard deviation event, sa akin hindi na nagme-make sense yung ganong klaseng result given the amount of effort that went into that particular trade. Now, if the stock is printed more than 4% and it's printing 3 standard deviation volume, again, it depends kung gaano kalaki na ba yung naging run niya over the past 10 days, over the past 20 days. If malaki na yung run, tapos nagkakaroon ng ganong klaseng volume turnover dun sa pangalan, akin lagi benta pa rin yung ano ko dun, yung rule ko for that. Of course, you can wait off the next day. Tingnan mo kung ano yung maging volume after such a 3 standard deviation event. Ang feeling ko pagka ganong klaseng 3 standard deviation event, overbought siya. And the next day, wala ka na makikitang ganong klaseng volume ulit. Last year, nakita ko siya sa run kay Cyber. Kay Cyber, if you look at yung October run niya, hindi na natin makikita yung statistics ngayon, pero yung October run niya, mapapansin mo dito, at 60, it started printing. Tandaan nyo, umakyat si Cyber from 41 cents, umakyat siya papuntang 60 in a day. And the next day, yung effort, yung one day change niya at 60 was 171,000 shares from 171 million shares from 265 million shares. So, from an effort perspective, the next day after it printed yung 3 standard deviation volume event niya, dito alam mo na kaagad na may problema kasi hindi nag-correspond yung volume event niya or yung volume buzz niya dun sa effort na na-produce niya for that day. So, half nitong 265 parang na-distribute na kagad the next day or na-unload na kagad the next day kung sino man yung sumunod. Tapos biglang nag-dry up na and prices started to slide already. So, very important na tinitingnan mo lagi yung effort and result. Ganun yung tamang pag-analyze ng volume. Any other questions? If there are none, thank you very much for attending tonight's session. Catch you later. Salamat.